Okay, so let's resume with part 3. So we should be able to log in and see our department. So let's deal with our header. And then we can control access to those different pages at the end. So let's open up our master page. We haven't used this for a while. We built this many weeks ago, back in lesson 4 actually. So we're going to keep this section. Just going to tab. I want to add some new links here. Let's see. I'm going to add a logout link.
It's not showing on.
Thank you. So I'm going to add a logout link. We haven't built a logout page, but we will. So we'll just add a link to logout.aspx. That link can say logout. And after my unordered list, after our logout, we'll maybe also, we may have to apply a little class for this. I'll put in an ASP label, an ID of LBL, name, runout equals server. So what we want to do, just like Blackboard does, we want to populate, if the user's logged in, we want to populate that label with this session variable. We created a session variable called instructor name that concatenates the first and last name together with a space. So we're going to want to display this value in that label when we have it. We're also going to add 2 other links, and I'm going to space them out like this for a reason. I'm going to add a link to register instructor. That'll say register. And I'll add a separate link that'll go to our login.aspx and say login. So we're basically going to have 2 sets of links. I've broken them up. If the user's not logged in, we're going to want to show this. If they are logged in, we're going to want to show that instead. So we'll need some code that runs on our master page to determine this. If I just save it right now, we're going to get all of the links. So if I refresh my department page, I get everything. So I can go anywhere. Logout will give me a 404 because we haven't built that one yet. So we don't want all 6 of these links. We also want the user's name showing up here. So first, we're going to wrap these. I indented them. We're going to use an ASP placeholder tag. The placeholder tag has no visual representation, doesn't generate any HTML. I'll call this PLH for placeholder public and set my runout equals server attribute. So I want my register and login links nested inside. I'm going to put in a second placeholder and call it PLH private, and we'll make that visible only if the user is logged in. So again, I'll nest all 4 of those links inside. We'll figure out where to put this label in a minute. So we've broken the nav up into 2 different sections, and we will toggle one will be visible and one will be hidden every time our page loads. So we already have a page load event where we're time stamping the current date and time in the footer. So now we'll determine which menu links to show. So we can check if our session instructor ID is not null, meaning somebody's logged in and their session hasn't timed out. We'll set our private placeholder to visible. And we'll set the public one to false. Otherwise, we'll set public to visible and private to invisible. Well, let's see if this works, and then we can add showing the first name and last name in the header in the label we added as well. So I'm not logged in right now. I restarted. So if I log in, so notice I get the public links and those 4 private links are hidden. If I log in, my public links are hidden and that private section shows up because now I have a valid instructor ID stored in my session. If I were to take the same page, open a private window where I'm not logged in, I get the public nav. So we can easily show or hide or make changes on our page this way just by checking our session. The last thing we'll do, if we have an instructor ID, is show the name in the header. So we'll set the text property equal to our instructor name to string. So not only are we showing the private links, we want to show, just like Blackboard does, we want to show the user's name in the header. Notice every time you recompile, your session gets wiped out. So if you're logged in, you're gonna have to log in every time. This is why one of the reasons I often add login at the end as I'm building, because every time I compile, I have to log back in. Well, that could probably use a little bit of formatting. But my name shows up in my private window. I've got nothing. Well, I'll leave that for now. I'll figure out the formatting of my label. We should build logout, which would be a simple page, be very similar to our logout page in PHP. We're just going to remove everything from the session, get rid of the session, and redirect the user back to the login page. So let's build our logout page. Any questions here? These placeholder tags are useful if we want to show or hide sections of our HTML. Basically, we can stick it in a placeholder and toggle that. We could also change the class. Okay, well, let's add a... Doesn't matter if this is a regular web form or web form with master page. I'll call it logout. This will be a hidden page. User will never see it. We don't need any HTML at all. So on page load, we basically need to kill the session and redirect to login or to home. I'll maybe take it back to default. So the first thing I'll do, probably unnecessary, but I'm going to make sure the instructor ID is set to null, because that's their identity field we're going to be checking for. So we'll get rid of that value. In PHP, we would call session destroy. In .NET, we call session abandon. So that should remove all the session variables from memory. And we'll take the user back to the home page. So when the home page reloads, this code is going to run again. And now the public nav will show back up and the name will get wiped out of the header. Because we'll no longer have a valid instructor ID in the session. So I'll log out. Oops, I need to build solution to add my logout page. So now we get our private nav, we get our name showing up. And now I'm kicked back to home. Name goes away. I get the public nav once again. We really only have one more thing to do. I can still get into any of these pages even though I'm logged out. I'll probably get an error on the departments page now because we no longer have a department ID in the session. I've logged out. So we get no departments. I thought it would throw an error, didn't. So I can go anywhere. So we need to control access to all of the pages we had built before today. So we basically just need one little if statement, right? We just need to check, like we did in PHP. We really just, and we've done here, we just want to check whether we have an instructor ID in the session, yes or no. So in PHP, we put that in a separate file. We created an auth.php file, and we used require once to just include that file. So we can do something similar here. We can build, we don't need a full page. We can just build a user control, and we can drag that control on all of our private pages. And that way, all those pages are going to get secured right away. And we don't have to add code to them. We can just drag it on. So I'm going to right-click my project and choose Add. And we'll pick a new item. We did play around with these back, I think, in week three. So under web, what I want is a web forms user control. And I will call it auth. So give it the same name we gave it in PHP. So this is a component. It's a piece of a page. It's not a full page on its own. And there'll be no visual representation of this page. We're just going to write some C# code to check for an identity in the session. So we'll add that to the project. There's nothing here, which is fine. Or as Scott would say, that's cool.
Or Jeff would say, right. What kind of page is it?
It's a web forms user control. It's not a page. So it's an ASCX file. So on page load, all we want to do is this. So if our session instructor ID is null, we'll redirect the user to logout, because logout calls session abandoned. I mean, we could just go to the home page, but this is making it even safer. Just take them to logout, which calls session abandoned, and redirects. So that we can actually now just drag and drop this control on our courses, students, and departments pages. And then this, anytime our control runs, it checks the session for an ID. If it doesn't find one, it takes the user and logs them out. I mean, they're probably logged out already, but this is just making sure they're logged out. So I'm going to open up my course details page into my HTML. If I go to my Solution Explorer, I can just drag this in right at the top. It registers the control for me. We did this manually back in class 2. So now the code for our auth control is linked. It's like an include file. So any code that runs in that control is now part of this page. So if I save and build, I'm not logged in. I can still refresh my student page. This will load for me. I can still go to Student details, I think it's called. I can still go here. Oh, it's the wrong one. Whoops. Or I can still refresh departments. I still get that page. But if I try to go to course, sorry, where did I put it? Did I put on course details? If I try and go to course details, it kicks me back to the home page. So that page is now secured. I can't get there without logging in. So we can now drag and drop that auth control on all of the courses, departments, and students pages. And now they'll all be private. This is not the most, foolproof solution, but it will work.
Does it matter where you're putting them?
No, it doesn't really matter. You may as well put it near the top. It just has to go inside of one of the content controls, I think. You can't put it outside. So I'm going to add it to courses. I'm going to add it to department details. Departments. I'm just putting it above my H1 tag in every case. Student and students. So if I just save all of those, I don't even have to shouldn't even have to recompile them. All those pages should now be private. So if I go to course details, doesn't matter which page I go to, all those pages are now private. Students. Oops, I dragged the wrong thing in. There. So now if I refresh students, I'm stuck on the home page. So the only public pages I have now are default, register, and log in. And once we log in with our salted and hash password, we get our private nav, we get our department list filtered, we get our name showing up in the header. Now I can go to any one of these pages. And I can probably find a class to fix that in my header. Adding that class from Bootstrap will at least push it over to the right. Should probably be aligned height-wise with these. It's there, and when I log out, that'll go away. Right, so there's no name until I log back in. Sure. Which section? Sorry?
That's good. Thank you.
I'll probably fix that before I put it on GitHub. I want to align it because it's bugging me.
Yeah.
So give it a class of navbar right instead. So it's inside of there.
Maybe it needs 7 out.
Hang on. We'll figure it out.
Is it wrapped in the container?
So I might need a. Should the container go inside of the nav?
In that body.
body class of this computer.
Yeah. So then where are we going to close this? Probably all the way down at the end of the body, I guess, eh? Let's try that. It's not a bad suggestion. Yeah. I'll just play around with it. I don't think I want the whole thing.
It has to be a link, I think, instead of a label. Like a dead link that goes nowhere.
We'll sort it out. Not mission critical to what we're doing. I'll try and get it right before I push it to GitHub. Are there any questions about the login, the register and login process we've done? So you should be able to use what we've done today in your assignment.